What excites me the most is it's actually bringing, I think, two very successful companies that were two halves of a whole. So what you're bringing is Xaxis, which was concentrating on the advertiser side, targeting audiences, with 24/7's business, which has been around quite a bit longer, but there's a lot of history around publisher side targeting technology. By bringing the two pieces together, I think you're kind of creating the 1 + 1 = 3 kind of model, because you're bringing together the demand side, the supply side, and some really amazing foundational technology that is highly, highly scalable, which is one of the things that we really hung our hat on over the years of 24/7. And I think the combination is really one that is very, very unique in the marketplace. So we're all very, very excited about January coming. Business as usual till then, but January is going to be an exciting month for both companies for sure.
Great. So you've also, I mean, at the same time sort of the merger, or there's an acquisition, right, that you guys are also making some investments from a forward-looking perspective. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we acquired Crystal Semantics yesterday. Technically under 24/7, but obviously moving under Xaxis in January like the rest of us. And Crystal Semantics is a semantic targeting company. So most of their company is engineers and linguists, which is really one of the concentrations. Half of our company at 24/7 is engineering. So it's very consistent with what our strategy has been. But we do believe that context matters, and I know Brian mentioned it before, as others have. Audiences are very important. Context is very, very important also. So our investment in a semantic technology really will allow us to look at pages, look at websites, and make sure that we're targeting the right audiences on the right content. And so this acquisition was really key to be able to do that.
But there's a bigger story there, right? Because you're not just sort of focused on a cherry picking channel by channel. I mean, you are looking at this holistically from the perspective of creative optimization across platform, right?
Absolutely.
Which is a much bigger nut to crack.
Absolutely. So we, at 24/7, we've been building our technology to be cross-platform. So the idea of Open Ad Stream was to be able to create a single campaign and target users across any screen, wherever they are. And I know that's become very commonplace to talk about that now, but Open Ad Stream has been around for a very long time and was built out many years ago to do just that. So it's very forward-thinking technology to be able to do that, and the ability to, you're right, show the right creative to the right person on the right page is a very, very important combination on whatever screen that they happen to be looking at the time. So this is definitely a piece of that puzzle for us and moving forward for Xaxis.
I have a really interesting quote from you in my notes that is sort of everything addressable will become programmatic, right? I mean, so I would love for you just to sort of give me a dive deeper and deconstruct that a little bit, but also tell me about how creative fits into that, because I think this is something that is an exceptional differentiation for you guys in the marketplace.
Yeah, so I do think that over time, technology will catch up to the creatives. Sort of my second part of that statement. So I do believe that, because technology at some point will catch up to the business. We've seen it in display, we've seen it in video, we've seen it in mobile, where none of these could be bought programmatically not very long ago, and now they can all be bought programmatically. Where we're still missing, let's say, is that some of the really compelling creatives cannot be bought programmatically yet. And I say yet because over time, I believe technology will catch up and be able to do some of the less standard types of formats that are super engaging, the high engagement formats that really we can't put on programmatic platforms yet. It will happen. I don't know if it'll happen in a year or 3 years or 5 years. It will happen. And that's why I think that everything addressable will be programmatic. It's just a matter of time.
And what do you see, I mean, given your new role as sort of Chief Revenue Officer, where do you see in the new sort of larger definition of what Xaxis is with 24/7 coming into that fold, what's the typical engagement? Like, what does that look like? What does a relationship with a key advertiser or brand look like? In what different ways are you serving them? And what is kind of the 12-month partnership strategy look like?
12 years would be a hard one.
Sorry, yeah. The planning cycles we live in. But, what is kind of like the 12-month trajectory? How's that grow over time?
Yeah, so I think that the combination of assets, I mean, just let me give an anecdotal example, but we at 24/7 launched in August of this year something that we called Alchemy Ad Labs, which I'm sure the name will change in January, but it's a creative services team. It's a creative solutions team. And what we were going into very large advertisers with is a very smart group of people that could put together very custom but scalable units. The problem with some of custom units now is that they're really not scalable. But because of our relationships with publishers, we can make these units very scalable because we have direct relationships with publishers and we're not putting them through a third-party platform. So just one synergy I see right off the bat is that the combination of the companies will bring the scale and the advertisers of Xaxis a new offering that will be highly creative, highly scalable formats with social overlays and video and news links and content and all these sorts of things that we've been doing within Alchemy to their clients. And that's one piece, for example, that Xaxis hadn't concentrated on yet, but was something that was really strategically important to them. So those kinds of synergies will happen very, very quickly and bring creativity and scale within Xaxis and to the publishers.
Do you think that an outcome of your sort of increasing, toolkit of creative resources or sort of, your investment in creative optimization, do you think that completion rates are sort of as a result going to be a more prominent performance indicator around the media that you place?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, one thing that I think, I mentioned it in a previous panel I was on is if we're really introspective as a digital industry with ourselves, we've fallen short of creativity in many ways. So we've kind of thrown banners up and they perform sometimes, they don't others. We have great technology to optimize them, but we can as an industry do a much better job of making creative more compelling and more interesting. And I think it would take some of the rub of users hating advertisement if we make them more relevant to the users that are seeing them. So that is really our mission at Xaxis, is creating messaging, creating creatives, creating messages that are relevant to the audience that they touch. This way, there's not this rub between content and advertising.
And hopefully there's
users.
less finger pointing as well, right?
Absolutely.
Between media and creative. And
That's right. But we still, I would argue, spend a lot less time on creating the creatives in digital as we do, for example, in some of the really witty, interesting television commercials you see. There's far less of that in digital. You see it coming more, but it's not there yet.
Yeah.
So that's where we're really going to make a push next year and beyond.